Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for attending OneSource's Spotlight Series webcast. I'm Kirk Waddell, Executive Vice President of Technology here at OneSource, and I'm excited today to introduce to you Jim Kay, who is Senior Vice President of Customer Experience at Curie, a medical professional liability and wealth management company serving 13,000 physicians in over 20 states. In his role, Jim is responsible for defining and ensuring positive customer interactions throughout their journey with Curie, activities that include onboarding, support services, retention, and stewardship. Jim is a 20-plus year insurance veteran, having held a variety of senior leadership positions in sales, marketing, and underwriting. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Kurt, I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the webcast. Before we get started, I think I have prefaced this previously, but I find it very appropriate to do so today. Like many of you, I am conducting this webinar from my house. So I will go ahead and ask for forgiveness in advance if you hear my golden retriever announce his excitement to the dog passing by the window, or the lawnmower background noise from my neighbor, who I know is mowing his grass for what seems like the 5th time this week. So having said that, Jim, let's dive in. This is the new norm though, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
it's where we are. So today, the topic that we want to discuss is one that Jim is really a fundamental expert in, and that's what your insurance company needs you to know about cybersecurity and the importance of what you may and may not know about protecting your data. So Jim, why don't we get things started by just telling us a little bit about Curie and the services that you provide for your members.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, you kind of covered a little bit of it, but I'll just go kind of give the quick elevator speech. We are a physician-owned mutual company. Mutual being key is that our physician policy holders are actually the owners of our company. So we treat our members and our policy holders a little bit differently. So we add a lot of extra value in there we'll talk about here in a second. But what we really do is we partner with our physicians to help them in medicine, help them in the business of medicine, and help them in their personal lives. So for over 45 years, we started in 1975, our core offering has been medical professional liability insurance. And as Kirk mentioned, we insure just over 13,000 physicians. We're in over 20 plus states now, which makes us probably one of the top 10 or 12 largest professional liability insurance companies in the country. But beyond the insurance piece of it, though, we also offer an array of additional products and services that help our practices stay efficient and helping them stay independent as well. These are typically free as part of their membership. Again, as a member organization, we try to bring extra value to our physicians. So those services range from HR consultations to regulatory help and assistance to compliance issues to extra coverages and services, which we'll talk about here in a bit as well. And then on the life side, we actually have created a comprehensive private wealth management and advisory company called Curi Capital to help our physicians in their individual investment and wealth management planning. And then beyond that, and lastly, we have a wellness platform that helps our physicians with stress and burnout, which is unfortunately kind of too prevalent here in healthcare today. So really, holistically, we provide a broad approach to helping our physicians and their families and protecting them from professional and financial risk. And so that's kind of what we do.
I will say, Jim, the thing that I've been most impressed as our organizations have had the opportunity to get to know each other better is the breadth of the support services that you offer your members. It's quite impressive, and I think it speaks to the overall mission of your organization. So, so obviously, one of the things that we're here to talk about today deals in the realm of cybersecurity, and I know, as you know, as we've engaged over the last several months, it's been a journey for you and your members as you're developing this cybersecurity strategy. So why don't you kind of take us through that journey and talk to us about some of the solutions that you've put in place and some of the things that you're offering to your members in the area of cybersecurity.
Well, the journey actually goes back a long way. So obviously, medical practices face risk well beyond just malpractice issues. And about 15, maybe 20 years ago now, we recognized and identified the risk to physicians as it relates to cyber and security issues. So much so that we have actually embedded some privacy and security insurance coverage in our malpractice insurance policy. Again, it has nothing to do with professional liability, but it has everything to do with being a good partner. So again, with the services and programs we have to offer our members, we also offer additional coverages, one being the cybersecurity coverage. And now I know Kirk wanted me to elaborate a little bit on what that entails. So if you're not familiar with this form of insurance, what it does, it provides protection for privacy breach costs, which include patient notification expenses. So if you have a breach and a patient's information is compromised, you have to alert them of that. There's costs associated with that. You may have to offer them credit monitoring. There's costs associated with that as well. It also covers network asset protection, which allows, there's expenses to help you recover some lost data. It covers cyber extortion. So if you're held for ransom, you need to pay some monies. There's some protection built in for that. And then also it provides some privacy and regulatory defense and penalty coverage. So as a healthcare practice, you are held by a higher standard by HIPAA. You probably heard that name before. But that's just legislation that mandates strict adherence to protecting patient health information. If that patient information is released, you are subject to fines and penalties. So this coverage offers you some defense reimbursement if you're accused of that. And if you're penalized, it provides some coverage to help you pay some of those penalties too.
Those penalties being severe.
They can be significant. There's no question about that. So we have embedded some coverage, and we've been doing it now for almost 20 years, but it's a small limit of coverage. It's roughly $50,000 per claim, which, as you know now, if you have any kind of breach or an incident, you'll blow through that money pretty quickly. But we wanted to make sure that our practices had some level of baseline protection because we know there's been significant exposure that's out there for them. So that's kind of really phase one in our journey of this. But we quickly realized that that baseline embedded limit of coverage was just not near enough, because we've had a lot of incidents occur where they've blown through that money. Cyber attacks in healthcare has been escalating pretty quickly. And I think part of that is the value of a medical record on the black market is hear different numbers, but say 20 times that of a person's social security number. So healthcare entities are right in the bullseye of these cyber attackers. Yep. So we've seen plenty of attacks. We've seen folks that go through these limits pretty quickly. So now we started selling higher limits of coverage, basically higher limits above that $50,000 that we automatically include in our policy today. So we charge for that, but we do sell higher limits, and we recommend that our practices have at least $1 million worth of coverage. That's a baseline. You probably should have more than that, but we recommend having at least that amount of money. And we have a good number of practices that have bought that additional limit of coverage, which is great. Yeah. We have several that bought more than that. We have a few that have $5 million worth of coverage. So that's just one part of the solution, though. But insurance is not the ultimate end all. You need to have other pieces of this puzzle to have a strong cybersecurity and privacy program in place. So we started through our risk management department building some risk tools to help mitigate some of these cyber issues. Tools that would include, we have several different webinars. One that seems to be the most popular is what to do if you're held for ransom, how to mitigate server and system takeover. And then we have a risk resource guide, which is really an aggregation of best practices. So how to avoid being a victim, what to do if you're attacked, and then creating incident response plans when you are. So these all tools kind of another piece of that puzzle. So you have the insurance piece, then you have the risk piece, but still there's a big gaping hole there that we didn't have, and that's the technology piece. We got a lot of calls from our member practices and our physicians thanking us for what we've done so far, but they'd asked us, do you have a solution that can provide an audit of our systems, provide an assessment, or technology solutions to prevent these attacks from occurring? And we didn't. So what we did, and as Kurt mentioned, we've talked to OneSource probably about a year or so ago now.
It's been a while, yeah.
And we said, all right, well, before we talked to OneSource, we talked to a whole handful of other vendors like OneSource, but we landed on OneSource, and we just felt very comfortable with them. And we liked their solutions, we liked their offerings, but before we made a program for our members, we ourselves wanted to kick the tires first to make sure they could deliver on what they promised. And so what we've done as a company, we engaged OneSource and took advantage of their external cybersecurity threat assessment, as well as their internal cybersecurity threat assessment. We're also using their phishing solution technologies, and then even beyond the cyber issues, we're using OneSource for some of our managed IT connectivity solutions. So all across the board, we found meaningful value in each one of those products and services, and it's been a great response. And long story short, OneSource passed the test, and we're now are confident, and we have created a program that we're releasing now to our members and with regards to these cybersecurity initiatives. In addition to that, we continue to use OneSource for our to keep our own cybersecurity infrastructure safe. So that was kind of the process of where we got to today. The program we've developed with OneSource and in conjunction with OneSource is we are offering our members, all 13,000 physicians, all 2,300 practices that we insure, a comprehensive external threat assessment that OneSource conducts on our behalf. So we believe there's a need for this. We believe that it should be done. We believe in OneSource's capabilities to deliver on that we are actually picking up the cost for our members. So again, it's a free benefit for being a Curie member. I'm not sure what the cost would be. Kurt, you might know that, but roughly say $500 or $600 per assessment.
Per assessment, that's
yeah.
fair.
So, but again, we just think there's such a value out there that our practices need to have, and there's some exposure there that we want to help them where we can. So we're picking up the cost of that external threat assessment. And then the second part of the offering where we've recently launched was practices can take advantage of the internal threat assessment if they want to, or the phishing solutions that OneSource can provide, whether it's reporting and or triaging of those potentially malicious emails that you typically get all the time. So,
absolutely.
Again, the piece is what we're missing, the kind of technology solution kind of around it. So insurance is great to have, higher limits of insurance is great to have, having some kind of risk management built around it is good to have, but having a technology piece and having a comprehensive solution is what we were missing, and OneSource was able to provide that for us. And so far, we launched this program now 2 weeks ago, and the response has been fantastic from our members. They're thanking us, they're offering it, they're excited about undertaking the assessment, and we're looking forward to some good results from them.
Yeah, we're equally excited and really excited about the level of engagement from your members. I think it goes to show you that this is front of mind, for a lot of organizations, specifically in the healthcare vertical. And we touched on it briefly, but the cost to do nothing is exponential, right, compared to the cost to put these solutions in place in the event that a breach occurs.
I mean, a good example, Kurt. We had a group here in the Triangle probably about 12 months ago now, maybe a little more than a year ago. Large practice here. They had a couple of physicians come in on a Sunday just to kind of catch up on their documentation. A few of them clicked on this phishing email, which released malware throughout the system, and it locked down their electronic health record system. It locked down their scheduling system. It locked down their billing system for over a week. Now, this practice saw 500 patients a day. So you're locked down for a week. That's obviously cost associated with that. So you're right. You need to be proactive. When you have a bad outcome like this, it can be costly and painful. So having a comprehensive program in place is what we're trying to do for our membership.
That's awesome. And again, I think it just speaks to the level of integrity of your organization and the fiduciary responsibility really that you take in supporting them. So, Jim, as always is the case, this 15 minutes flies by. We could keep going on this I could keep going on this for another couple of hours, but unfortunately my marketing team says that can't happen. So really, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I thought this was very informative. I hope it was informative for our audience and for our participants who are out there today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Hopefully you gained some insight in regards to really what a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy is. And so we will actually be sending out an email in the next couple of days. And I asked that you provide us feedback. If there's ideas or topics that you have for future discussions, please share that with us. But again, thank you for your time. I hope everyone stays safe and healthy and have a great remainder of the week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kurt.